Do you know what a sidechain does on a compressor? Seriously, this is like an awesome tool that I feel like a lot of people don't really fully understand how to use. And this is going to be super relevant for anybody that does any type of music that has a lot of bass content because bass tends to distract compressors. It draws the attention of the compressor to the bass frequencies. So in this video today, you're going to learn what this sidechain thing is, how to use it to make sure that the compressor is actually compressing the part of the audio that you want it to compress. And if you need a compressor that has like the sidechain functionality, or maybe just need some new tools, definitely go and check out the description because I have a link to download my favorite free mixing and mastering plugins guide. So if you need some plugins to help you do some of these cool techniques we're going to show in this video, definitely go and check that out and grab your free copy. The song we're working with today is by an artist called Centric. The song is called We Rise. I have a link to all of his stuff in the description if you want to check him out. He is an incredible artist. I think one of the easiest ways to visualize what a sidechain does is just by showing you with FabFilter Pro C2. Basically, the sidechain is hidden when you normally load this plugin. To see it, you have to click the sidechain button. And essentially what a sidechain is the signal that the compressor is going to look at to decide what it should compress. And that is separate from the output of the compressor. Okay, so the sidechain is independent. It's basically like you're splitting your audio. Sidechain sees one thing, and then the compressor sees the other split. So you can change the sidechain information to feed it to the compressor to manipulate its compression response to the audio. What do I mean by that? We go back to this compressor. So let's start by just adjusting this threshold to see how the compressor reacts to this music without doing anything to the sidechain.
Don't be surprised how we rise like a phoenix to the zenith.
So if you look at the gain reduction plot as the song is going, it's only really responding to the kick drum and maybe a little bit to the snare. It's not really doing any compression of the vocal or anything else, okay? And maybe we want to squeeze the song a little bit tighter, but we don't want to choke out the bass drum, right? Usually you want a punchy kick drum. So this is when the sidechain is critical. The sidechain allows us to tell the compressor what to do about these frequencies, okay? So if we put on a high-pass filter, we can basically remove all the sub energy out of the sidechain. The compressor looks at this EQ'd sidechain information to decide when to compress, okay? So it will no longer see any bass energy. So it's not going to compress now anytime the kick drum or the bass hits hard. And what that does is that keeps the bass punchy and allows you to kind of compress all the other elements in the mix, okay? So watch what happens to the gain reduction when I roll this high-pass filter higher and higher.
The prototype, hold a gold mic, but hold the light, the lamp of the mind, the grit and the grind. Sip water and spit wine in the face of those who hating the greatest and try to play us. Our lives got layers, our family, they separated.
See, it's no longer seeing the kick drum. Okay, so this allows us to then dial in the threshold, the ratio, the attack to have more control over the element that is most important in the mix. So you want to add compression, but it's getting too pumpy because there's too much kick or bass energy. Pull up your sidechain, filter out that low energy, and then do your compression. So if you want the compressor to react maybe to the snare drum, you can boost that snare drum fundamental right around, I don't know, like 300 hertz or 200 hertz, and then it will react then specifically to the snare drum.
The song of the ancestors, rise through the storm, to the stars, through the clouds, head up.
So now the compressor is reacting more strongly to the snare drum than the kick. And you can do this for anything. Super important concept to understand and to use. Now, a lot of plugins have this functionality built in, but they kind of hide it. So I want to show you on a few other plugins where to find this feature. So Waves on their CLA 2A plugin, which is a compressor I love to use. It's an opto-style compressor. It's kind of a spongy thing. Works great for hip-hop. The Sidechain is accessible by this screw, which is not really easy to notice, right? And you just have this 100 and 0. It's kind of confusing. So when this is in the position closest to the flat side, that means that all the frequencies are attenuated evenly, okay? There's no adjustment to the side chain. Now, as you roll this back towards high frequency, what this basically is doing is that anything above about 1K is getting a little bit of a boost. So you're going to be attenuating the higher frequencies preferentially to the lower frequencies. And in some weird way, you could think of this almost as acting kind of like a de-esser in certain circumstances. But if we want to maintain the punch and the power of the kick, what we're going to want to do is actually roll it back towards the high frequency direction, and that's going to let that kick come through without necessarily getting as much gain reduction. You'll see this needle really bending hard when that kick drum hits, and then as I dial this back, you're going to get less gain reduction when the kick hits, and it's just going to stay a little bit louder, more pronounced. See, that's where the whole huge, fat, powerful low end is. And now it sounds pumpy when we go back to the flat setting. So you can dial this in to find a sweet spot so that you get a little bit of compression on the kick drum, but you're maintaining the punch and power of it. If you write bass-heavy music like EDM or hip-hop or anything like that, this is a trick that you need to learn and master if you want your songs to be impactful and punchy and loud. So question for you, have you ever used a sidechain in a compressor ever before? And if so, when do you use it? And what plugins are you using to achieve that effect? I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're still with me, be sure to hit that thumbs up button because that tells YouTube that this video is actually helpful. Possibly it will show it to more people, which will help more people. And I'm sure you like helping people. I like helping people. It's a good thing to do. Do not forget that I have that free downloadable guide of my favorite free mixing and mastering plugins waiting for you in the description. And with that, I want to thank you so much for your time and attention today. My name is Bobby Balo. I'm the mixing mastering engineer at Raytown Productions, and I hope to see you in another video.